Favour's family lived in a small corner of Port Harcourt called Diobo. Their room was barely big enough for the three of them, but it was the only thing they could afford after her father lost his security job 2 years earlier. Since then, their lives had become a long chain of struggles tied together by faith and hope. Some days, hope won. Most days, hunger won. Favour always noticed her parents try to pretend. They would smile at her even when their eyes were empty. They would say, "Eat, my daughter," even when she knew they hadn't eaten since the night before. She hated that fake smile more than hunger. One rainy morning, she woke up to see her mother trying to boil water in an empty pot, pretending there was something inside. Her father lay on the bed, too weak to stand. "Mommy, what are we eating?" Favour asked. Her mother kept stirring the empty pot. "Food is coming," she said, forcing a smile. But the truth was written all over her face. There was no food coming. And the debt they owed the market woman had already passed what 3 families could owe. That day, Favour walked out of the room with her slippers slapping the wet ground and rain tapping her hair like cold fingers. She didn't know where she was going. She just needed to breathe. She needed to think. She needed to cry without her mother seeing her. Port Harcourt was awake as always, cars honking, people rushing, hawkers shouting prices, but somehow she felt alone in all that noise. She found herself sitting at the edge of a gutter, watching water flow past her feet. She hugged her knees and let the rain mix with her tears. Why us? Why my family? Why this life? She didn't get answers. Just more cold rain. A few weeks later, the suffering grew worse. Her father's condition became so bad that Favour had to beg neighbors for water to soak Gary. Sometimes they chased her away. Sometimes they pitied her. Sometimes they didn't have anything to give either. One woman told her, "Favour, you are too young to suffer like this. Look for work before this life kills you." But where would she find work? She had only finished JSS 3 because dropping out was not a choice, it was a necessity when her parents couldn't pay fees. Still, she tried. Every day, she walked around Port Harcourt searching for something to do. She washed plates in small restaurants. She carried goods for traders. She helped women peel yam. She did anything her hands could find. And every night, she returned home with tiny money. Sometimes 100 Nigerian nairas. Sometimes 200 Nigerian nairas. Sometimes nothing. But she still returned. Because even small money can save a family that has nothing. Her mother always collected the money gently. "My child, thank you," she would say, hugging her tightly. Her father would nod from the bed, tears in his eyes. "God will bless you, my daughter," he always said, in the same weak voice. But Favour didn't feel blessed. She felt tired. She felt angry. She felt ashamed that she couldn't do enough. The shame followed her everywhere. Like the day she fainted at the roadside while helping a woman carry firewood. People rushed to her. Someone poured water on her face. Someone else called her, "Poor girl." Someone tried to help her stand but she couldn't. When she woke up fully, she found herself inside a chemist shop. The owner looked at her with pity. "You no chop today." She tried to lie. "I ate." The man shook his head. "My daughter, hunger dey show for your eyes." She blinked. She didn't want pity. She didn't want anyone looking at her like that. She stood up quietly and left without saying a word. Walking home that evening was the longest walk of her life. The sun felt heavier. The road felt longer. Her vision kept shaking. And when her mother saw her at the door, she cried immediately. "My daughter, your body is drying." But what could Favour do? What could any of them do? Life was pressing them from every side. Months passed. Life didn't get easier. It got harder. There were days they slept without food. Days they survived only on water. Days Favour had to pretend she had eaten so her parents would not worry. There were nights she lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if this was how she would die. Young. Hungry. Forgotten. Sometimes she prayed. Sometimes she shouted inside her heart. Sometimes she just listened to her mother cry quietly in the dark. But among all those nights, there was one Favour would never forget. The night her father said the words that broke her heart completely. "Favour, maybe it's time you leave this house, find somewhere to work and live. This place is killing you." Her mother jumped immediately. "No. She is our child." Her father wiped his eyes. "Do you want to watch her die little by little? Look at her. Look at how thin she is. Look at how she suffers. Is this life?" Favour felt her chest tear open. She wasn't angry at her father. She understood him. She understood his pain. It wasn't rejection. It was the pain of a father who could not provide. But still, hearing it hurt her more than hunger. She ran out of the house and sat outside under the moonlight, hugging herself tightly. She didn't want to leave her parents. They were all she had. They were the only reason she kept fighting. But she also knew they were drowning together, and none of them had strength left. As she sat there crying softly, a voice came from behind her. "You shouldn't sit outside at this time." She turned. A young man stood there, holding a small nylon bag. He looked neat, calm, simple. His eyes were warm, not the type that judge people. He said his name was Daniel. He lived a few houses away. He had seen Favour around. He noticed she looked hungry. He didn't say it directly, but the kindness in his eyes said it for him. He offered her the nylon. Inside was bread and a soft drink. Favour blinked. She looked at the food, then looked at him, unsure. He smiled. "Take it, please." Her hands shook as she collected it. "Thank you." Her voice cracked. Daniel nodded gently and walked away. Favour didn't even eat the bread. She took it inside and shared it with her parents. Her father cried as he ate. Her mother held the drink and stared at the ceiling. That night, something changed inside Favour. A tiny light sparked inside her chest. A reminder that maybe life was not completely done with her. She met Daniel again the next day. And the next. And the next. Sometimes he walked with her as she looked for work. Sometimes he bought her a bottle of water. Sometimes he just talked to her, asking about her day. He never pitied her. He never mocked her. He never asked for anything. He just cared. And slowly, very slowly, Favour felt her heart learning how to breathe again. Her life didn't change suddenly. Suffering didn't disappear at once. Hunger didn't stop overnight. But there was something new. A strength she didn't have before. A hope she couldn't explain. A confidence that maybe God had not forgotten her family. Months later, Daniel got a stable job at a logistics company. He started helping Favour's family quietly, buying food, paying small bills, taking her father to the clinic. Her parents loved him immediately. And one evening, as the sun set across Port Harcourt and coated the room in a soft orange glow, Daniel sat with Favour outside and held her hands gently. "Favour, I want to take care of you. I want to help your parents live well. I want to give you the life you deserve. I want us to build a home together." She blinked. She couldn't breathe for a moment. She had never imagined anyone would look at her, a poor girl who used to beg for Gary, and call her a blessing. Her eyes filled with tears. "Daniel, are you sure?" she whispered. He smiled. "I have never been more sure." And right there, with the wind brushing their faces and the noise of Port Harcourt moving in the background, Favour felt something she had not felt in years. Peace. Real peace. A life that once tasted like hunger now tasted like hope. A future that once looked dark now had light. A heart that once carried shame now carried love. And for the first time in a very long time, Favour believed that God had not forgotten her. That even the poor can rise. That even tears can turn into blessings. That even a broken girl from Diobu can be loved without condition. And she was right. Because the girl who once fainted by the roadside, the girl who soaked Gary with tears, the girl who almost gave up, became the woman who found a husband who lifted her, cherished her, protected her, and rebuilt the life she thought she had lost forever. Her name was Favour. And truly, Favour found favour.